How to pronounce the letter G in German? Now you might say, well, that's easy, just like in English, like when we say to give, and in German we say, for example, ganz. That's the same letter, right? And that's correct. That's mostly, I would say, 95% of the cases we pronounce the G in this way. So this video goes a little bit into a few details that you might not be so super aware of. As I said, mostly the G is pronounced in exactly that way, especially when it comes at the beginning of the word or in the middle of a word. But when it comes at the end of a word, we know an exception. And that is when we have an ig ending, then we actually say ich. So we would say something like wenig. Okay, so that's the CH sound. This is a bit of a tricky sound in German. I'm linking a video to that as well, so you can practice this sound. So you would say wenig, but only when that happens at the end of a word. So for example, in wenige, I go back to the normal G sound, to the G sound. Some Germans also do that when it's not an ig ending, but for example, when it's an ag ending. You might hear some people say Guten Tag, okay, and then it's not an ich sound, but an ah sound. But the principle remains a bit the same, but that's a dialect. So this is not standard German, but some people, actually quite many people, do it. You don't have to imitate it. What you could say is just Guten Tag. And if you listen carefully, then you will hear that there is also a tiny difference here to the G in ganz. When I say Tag, what I actually am saying is a K sound. And that's one feature of the German language that refers to the end of the word. At the end of the word, when we have a consonant, we actually pronounce it harder. We pronounce it like the hard variation of it. So instead of a G, we say a K. We say, as for example, Tag. Okay? It means that the G becomes voiceless and that it's a little bit harder. Tag. And me personally, I come from the south of Germany, and I do that also with the G sound in the ig combination. So I don't say wenig, I say wenig. Many other Germans do that as well, but again, this is a dialect. So whether you hear me say wenig, wenig, or whether you hear Northern Germans say Tach, in both of these cases, that's a dialect. If you want to dig deeper into German pronunciation, maybe you would like to check out my online video course that is based on a coherent story instead of boring dialogues. There is a link below this video. So to sum up once again, 95% of the cases, the G is just pronounced like in the English to give, G, except at the end of the word when it's an ig, where we say hier, wenig. And if it is another letter at the end of the word, then we pronounce it like a K, for example in Tag.